day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. God is concerned about that which concerns you. That is the reason that we are here with you, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted. And our broadcast is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and on YouTube, we thank all of you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. And we now have Zelle available for you to use also on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. You may use Zelle freely, and we thank you, and it is free. And we thank you for all of your support and for your commitment. So I want to remind all of our listeners and viewers, we are in the midst of our Fiji Water, monthly FijiWater.com sponsored promo. So all you have to do is go to the internet radio station, our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com. The music that you hear, the first three songs that you hear at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, text those three songs along with your name and your email address to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. One of our listeners and viewers will be selected to receive a case of Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, from FijiWater.com. We do this every month. One of our listeners and viewers is selected every month to receive a case. So we want to just encourage you to stay connected with us. Tune in to our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com. Again, that's WKAPfaith.com, where we play music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. You stay connected with us throughout the day. We play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So you don't ever have to be disconnected from new life. We want you to have new life. We want you to experience a better quality of life. So stay tuned in at WKAPfaith.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you have been married for 30 years. However, you and your husband no longer have anything in common. And you are asking yourself, is it time to go your separate ways and enjoy life? Let me first of all say this. This is your life. You know, in your communication, you didn't indicate that there's any abuse, physical, emotional, or substance. None of that. You indicated that you two just don't have anything in common anymore. He likes certain things, you like certain things. He likes certain things a certain way, you like things a certain way. You don't have anything in common anymore. That's not true. You have a marriage that is a covenant relationship with God. It is not time to go your separate ways, thinking that you're going to enjoy life, doing things that you want to do because you think you have nothing in common with your husband. What you have in common with your husband is your marriage, the covenant that the two of you have made. And so you have to realize this is your life. And it's okay for you both to have different interests. It's okay for you both to want to do things your own way, a certain way. Pardon me, I don't want that to sound like it's selfish, because in marriage sometimes one person will want to do things one way and the other one will want to do things the other way. You just have to decide what's the best way to make certain that you enhance the quality of your lives. But then if it's little simple things, and let me do this for all of our listeners and viewers. It is not important how you squeeze the tube of toothpaste. It is not important that one of you is more fashionable than the other. It's not important. Those are just things that we enjoy in life in the physical realm. But marriage is a spiritual realm. It is a covenant between God. You've been married for 30 years. That in itself should allow you to rejoice. That's how you enjoy. You don't just decide one day after 30 years, when there's no mental abuse, no physical abuse, no mental abuse, no abusive behavior, no addiction behaviors, none of that you just go your separate ways. Now, I will admit, divorce happens. And the reason divorce happens is because the Bible said, I had a conversation with someone yesterday about this. Divorce happens because the Bible says what God joins together, let no man put aside, no man separate. But on the journey of life, sometimes we don't let God join us together with someone. We choose someone for whatever reason, because we were all in the world trying to find our way, and whatever the data and statistics indicate, that's real life. But it's because God didn't join us to that person. When God joins you, when you enter into a covenant relationship with God, of marriage that says, God, you have brought us together, you have joined us together, and we're not going to allow that to be destroyed. We're not going to input our will over God's will. So all you have to do is just enjoy life, even if it is, and rejoice in the life that you have, even if it is that he has certain things he likes, he enjoys doing, you have things you enjoy doing, do them. As long as it's not detrimental to your marriage or your household or your children, do them and enjoy the life that God has given you. But this is your life. And I know I'm very passionate about this, because we know in our society that divorce is a 50% rate, a 50% rate of divorce in America. So think about this. You and someone else is sitting in a room. One of you is going to get divorced. That's what the statistics show. But not if we make certain that the people we join ourselves to are who God joins us to. That God has brought us together. That God has joined us together. And then when God has joined us together, let no man separate. That means not even you. So in answer to your, because part of your question was, is it time? So you've been asking yourself, is it time to go your separate ways? Is it time to go your separate ways? That's what you asked me. So that you can enjoy life. No, just don't go your separate ways. Just enjoy the life you have. Enjoy living the life that God has given you. Because let me explain to everyone what happens in divorce. What happens in divorce is that two people become divided, and there's a lot of moving parts that go along with that. There's a lot of dissension. There's a lot of sometimes conflict, sometimes drama, certainly financial disruption. May not be destitution. It may not destitute you, but it will be some disruption. The enemy does that. Children suffer, whether they're young or adult. The enemy does that. Now we have to say, okay, we have a better understanding. So we're not going to just wake up in the morning and decide that it's time to go your separate ways. Listen, I will tell you without a doubt in my mind, I am certain that there are days that I wake up in the morning and by noon I'm probably not my wife's favorite person. Just because there's a lot of responsibility being married to me. So by noon I might not be, maybe 2 o'clock. but I might not be her favorite person. But that doesn't mean that she's going to say, I no longer want this life. It just means today I'm not her favorite. And that's only because that's just life. Nothing is going to be perfect. Everything is being perfected. Everything is being perfected. It's being perfected by God so that God's perfect will is done in all of our lives. That's what we all have to remember, and that's what we all have to live for. That's what we all have to strive for. So, to answer your question, absolutely not. This is your life. There's no reason for you to go anywhere. There's no reason for him to go anywhere. Live your life and rejoice in the 30 years that the two of you have had together. Enjoy the 30 years that the two of you have had together. And God willing, you'll have 30 more. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line. We will move you into our queue so that you may have the opportunity of becoming a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, I want to remind everyone, if you are trying to find us on Facebook, on our New Life Space Christian Center Facebook account, there is an integration problem that has not been resolved, and hopefully that will get resolved next week and we'll be able to move on. But go to our YouTube channel, the New Life Christian Center - Pastor Pope. Pardon me, that's for the Sunday sermon. But you can also find us we have 2 YouTube channels. You can find us on the Daily Divine Direction. Just type in on YouTube, on the search bar, Daily Divine Direction, you will find us. And then, of course, we invite you to tune in for the Sunday sermon at New Life Christian Center - Pastor Pope, which goes live. The Sunday sermon goes live at 10:45 a.m. And if you're in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us. You can come and worship with us at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your children are successful and living their own lives. However, you no longer feel needed. And you want to know, what can you do to fill the void in your life? So let me say this to you. First of all, to God be the glory, that you don't feel needed by your children any longer. That your presence in their life is a blessing to them. But you have led your children to the place that they were appointed to go by God. So let me tell you what that looks like. They're in good health, great health. You have 3 children. And you're blessed to have 3 children who are primarily doing the right things. We all wish our children would have a closer relationship with the Lord, but your children, they know the Lord. They're in their careers. They're working diligently to be successful. They have become successful. You are blessed. You know, often you have one out of however many children you have, unless you only have one. You'll always have, in many families, there will always be that one who doesn't really want to do what needs to be done. They're all over the place. They're just not, it happens. But you've got three, and they're all successful. They're all doing what they're supposed to be doing in life. You've brought them this far. You and your husband have brought them this far. And now you don't feel needed because, you know, they're young, unmarried, don't have children. You know, that's all a positive. But now because they don't need you to do for them, you feel, and you're no longer responsible for them because they're all over, one just turned 30. You've got them spread out from 22 to 30. Okay. After graduating from college, the last one landed a good position, is working, has an apartment, trying to do the right thing, and now you don't feel needed. So that last child who graduated this year is now months into their career and they're doing well. You say they're successful because that last one has now landed a new position. Well, has been working in the new position right out of college. To God be the glory. So what you can do to fill that void in your life is find your purpose where you are needed. Where you are needed. Okay. So volunteer to serve. You know, get involved with a charitable organization. Do more in your church. I'm an advocate for that. Okay. But however, find things that will not only take up your time and not only take up that space, but that it will take up your purpose. That will fill your life. One of the things that we often believe as parents is that because we are not needed on a daily basis, that we're no longer useful. You may not be, so let me do this. And I'm just going to say this for all of our listeners and viewers and you also. Your job when you get your children to a place where they are independent, where they're no longer dependent on you. Some of them might remain partially dependent, particularly if there's, some things that they are competent to deal with in life. They don't have all the tools that are necessary. You might have to fill in some spaces. But overall, your usefulness now for your children is to continue praying for them. And I always use this as an example because I look at Job. Now, everyone focuses on the trials and tribulations of Job in the Bible. Everyone focuses on all the damage that was done in his life by the enemy. And then some of us focus on the blessings that he received in the end, that he was able to go through that and then be a blessing to his friends by praying for them and then giving a double portion of everything he had. So, some people will even say it's worth it, all he went through. But it's never worth it to lose your children. Job lost his children, and basically God knew that his children were never going to fulfill their purpose because all they did was spend their life partying because their father had everything. So he allowed them to come home. Job, but I always focus on the fact that Job prayed for his children every day, just in the event that they would sin against God. And in his mind, they might not ask for forgiveness. They might not humble themselves. They may not turn their face towards God because they're too busy partying. So Job prayed for his children. That's your usefulness when your children become successful. That's your usefulness when your children become adults and are no longer dependent on you. That is your usefulness. But now you can be useful in so many more ways, because the hours that it was taking to raise your children, to nurture your children, and then to help them become successful, those hours are no longer needed. You don't have to spend any more time on them in that way. You're always going to be a parent. You're always going to love your children. You're always going to pray for your children. That is something that we do for all of our children, no matter what. However, you want to fill that void, fill it with your purpose. And your purpose has to be, now that you're no longer needed in that way by your children, there's someone and something that needs you, because you're still here. You have to be willing to surrender to God's will to do whatever God wants you to do, however he wants you to do it. Just open yourself up for that. And you will find that quickly that void will be filled. I'm not talking about your career. I'm talking about your personal wellness. That personal space of wellness that says, I'm going to serve God with everything that is within me. Most people pick and choose how they want to serve God. But what they don't realize is when you open yourself to serving God in whatever way he deems necessary, that God will do exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask or think, according to his power that works in you and through you. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. Shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can shop at Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And right now, if you order shirts from Charles Tyrwhitt, you can receive 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99. That's a savings of over $200 at Charles Tyrwhitt. It's over $200 if you order shirts right now that you will save. 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So now, one thing you got to know about The White Company is that they have everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store on Fifth Avenue, and you will see everything that The White Company has to offer. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. But if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from both stores. Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com and The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you have just received a large settlement from a medical lawsuit that has taken years to settle. However, you said now the problem is disciplining yourself not to spend. So this was a very interesting communication, and I really want to focus on this, because the one thing you don't want to do is spend because you have it. So it's taken you years to get this settlement. Let it take you years to invest, save and invest that money. And what I'm going to say to you is this. The one thing I'm going to encourage you to do, and most people know I encourage people to grow your money. But right now, what I'm going to encourage you to do is get accustomed to having money. So I'm going to tell you how to do that. For this next quarter, don't spend $1 of it. Allow the money to remain in the bank for this quarter. For the fourth quarter of this year, let it remain in the bank. What I'm going to encourage you to do is I'm going to encourage you to once a week look at your balance. Just once a week. How about this? Every Saturday night. All right. Every Saturday at 6 p.m. I'm going to encourage you to look at your balance. And whether it's, if you have it online, look at it online. If you don't have it online, but you have statements, look at your statement. But, okay, I'll just say this. You do have it online. So look at your balance online Saturdays at 6 p.m. Every Saturday at 6 p.m. If you're not home at 6 p.m., the moment you get home and get settled in, look at your balance. You want to get accustomed to having money. Because you have a spending issue. And you know that because you communicated that. You don't have the discipline to not spend. So get accustomed to having money first of all. So this quarter, do nothing with the money. Just look at your balance. Get accustomed to having it. And then, while you're doing that, I'm going to encourage you to start looking at the stock market, at what you might like to invest in. Companies that are publicly traded that you do business with. And then I'm going to communicate with you in January. Now, I encourage all of our listeners and viewers, you can communicate with me at any time. Call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. But now, having said that, I'm going to communicate with you again in January. If I don't hear from you before, or I'm going to communicate with you in January, and I'm going to talk with you about what you might like to invest in. I'm not your financial advisor, but I want to hear what your thoughts are about investing. But the very first thing you need to do is get accustomed to having money and not spending money. So don't change your lifestyle. Don't buy a new house. Don't buy a new car. Don't do anything with the money. Don't go out with your friends. Don't celebrate the fact that you got the settlement. Don't do anything. And you said in your communication that because you've been a listener and viewer for a very long time, we're not going to do anything with the money until you heard me address it on the Daily Divine Direction. So how I'm going to address this is tell you, first and foremost, you need to get used to having money. Do not spend any of it. And then in the new year, you're going to start deploying some of that capital and investing it into growth stocks that will, stocks that over time, they're solid companies, but over time, the shareholder value will increase. You don't want to spend that money. Live on the lifestyle you've been currently living. Live on the income that you currently have. Don't do anything different than you would normally do. That's first and foremost. And then you can focus on how you're going to grow that money. But right now, you're going to do absolutely nothing with it. And you're going to find that you'll be able to begin to discipline yourself at a new level. To God be the glory for what he has done. I pray that you've been restored to great health now, and that the settlement Even though it has taken some time, it is what God had in store for you. Don't blow your blessing. Today's Daily Divine Direction Broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you will save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. If you're in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us in New Life